Hello, all. This is Dr. Dave Maslach talking to you about reciprocity.com. The E is written with a 3. And in this particular video, I want to talk to you about whether you'd actually make a good professor. So, if you don't know me, I'm an associate professor of innovation strategy and entrepreneurship, and I created this whole reciprocity project to give back as much as I possibly can. There were so many people that helped me out that I wanted to pay the favor forward and help you out as much as I possibly can. All right, so most of us, when we start out in this journey, I remember back in, I was like 21, 22. This was back in like 2003, like a long time ago, right? That I was thinking of becoming a professor. It was just kind of like there that I was thinking about. It wasn't necessarily that I was going to become a professor, but I was like thinking about, should I get a PhD? And then from that, that's where I started thinking becoming a professor. But, my conception of what it is was totally wonky. It's a lot different than what I thought it was going to be. So, most people think that being a professor involves teaching, and that you're going to get summers off, doing things like that. But that is really not true. That's not, the big component of what your life is. To be a good professor, you really need to be the kind of person that you are curious and you want to study something for a very, very long time. That you are willing, and I mean a very long time, I'm talking decades, not like a couple of years that you're going to study something, but you're going to study something for several decades. That's how long it takes to get well known for the thing that you're actually doing. So most of us have actually been doing the game for a very long time. So I started my PhD journey in 2005. That's when I started my doctorate. And then, it's 2020 at this moment. I'm continuing to go and I'm continuing to invest in my career. And it still feels like I'm climbing. It feels like I've started. And then, I expect to hopefully do this for a long time, but who knows, right? So, in terms of what qualities make a good professor, I think the really important thing for this career is persistence and consistency. If you're that kind of person that just, you're going to get a lot of no's, you're going to get a lot of rejections, you get that all the time. But if you can pick yourself up and you can persist at it and you consistently persist at it, you do make progress. Everybody that you talk to that is a serious player in the field or any academic field will tell you that that's exactly what it takes. It's a tremendous amount of persistence. It's not a lot of head smarts. I think that there is a component of it that you do need some intellectual ability, but a big part of it is this persistence and consistency, and those things kind of get mixed up a lot in terms of is persistence and consistency, does that lead to intellectual ability, or is it intellectual ability is leading to persistence and consistency? Yeah, I don't know. There's Angela Duckworth's work on grit that might sort of explain some of that stuff. But what the big thing is that you can sit and keep working at something for a long time and sort of crack the code at something. If you're that kind of person, you can do pretty well in the career and be you could do well as a professor, and I think that's important. The other thing that, and it's related to all of this, is you have to be kind of goal directed, or that you can lead your own career and your own self. So a lot of people can't do that, believe it or not. It's really tricky to do that. You have to sort of pick it up and be an entrepreneur. You have to be an innovator and sort of push the field in a particular direction. I mean, these YouTube channels, it is really, or these YouTube videos are really, really tough, because, I'm doing something that's totally different. A lot of, it might go against tenure at a lot of places. A lot of people might say that, what are you doing? But I do that because I know it's an important sort of calling to move forward. And I think that this is going to be an important medium to help out other people in years to come. And you have to sort of do these kind of things in all dimensions of your life. In teaching, in the research direction that you're doing, you have to do these kind of things. In service, you have to stand up at a university and actually take a stand on something. All of these things take a tremendous amount of leadership, and you have to be that kind of person to do that is going to keep pushing forward. For me, it's a struggle, and it's going to always be a struggle for me. So I'm probably pretty normal with you in terms of dealing with these things, but know that you have to just keep being that person that is going to, just take charge and move something forward. I think that's really important. And that's actually how you become a full professor, believe it or not. So there's rankings at universities. You can watch some of my other videos, but a ranking of full professor means that you're just internationally well known. Everybody knows who you are, and they want you to be at their university. And once you get to that point where you're just internationally well known, that everybody wants you, that's at that moment where you become a full professor, and then you become like an asset to the university, because then it's really attractive to that university and all sorts of stuff. So that's just the criteria. So that is leadership, right? How you actually get to that point. That's an important thing to consider. And so, what to do? What do you want to do, or what should you do if you want to become a professor? So it's a long journey. Know that. You're going to need. First of all, finish your high school. If you're in high school, you're going to have to finish your bachelor's degree, then probably a master's degree, and then your PhD degree. And then after that, you can work either doing postdocs, for example, or get a job at a university in sort of postdoctoral researchers, where somebody just takes a couple of years and does research. Or you can get a job as a professor at that moment. But, you're looking at decades at that moment, right? So 10 years to 20 years. For a lot of people, it varies between how long this actually takes by the time you actually finish your high school and become a professor. It's just a really long investment in education, and it's a nice career for some people. And other people, it's a real drag. It's just like everything else, right? So it is a challenge to get there, and then I think that's the thing that is not quite where I'd like it to be, because it's hard for people to know what they want to do until they actually are doing it. And once they get there, then it is a struggle, because you've invested so much. You have all this sunk cost. And sunk cost, I think people sort of misunderstand what sunk costs are sometimes. That it's an investment that you'll never get back and stuff like that, and you should never sort of look at some cost. But with knowledge, it's different, because you've developed a tremendous amount of understanding about something, and it's really important to use that knowledge to leverage in different areas. So that sunk cost is hard to ever recoup, and so I think lots of people want to keep going forward with that, and they just permanently not they are just not really into the career. So just be aware of that, that it is a challenge, but for a lot of people, they excel and do well, and everybody loves it, right? So, or a lot of people love it. So it's just like every career, everything that you do, there's a real mix between people that are thriving and other people that are not, and all that kind of stuff. Just expect that. It's pretty normal in all careers to expect that kind of behavior, that there's a distribution of what people do and who people are, and the outcomes and the sort of success rates that they have. Totally normal across all fields. So in terms of the other thing that you have to do, once you finish or you start your PhD, you have to start building a research pipeline in a particular topic where you get known. Again, it comes back to being internationally known. That's kind of the criteria. So you have to build a research pipeline where people know what you're about, and you're just really well known for those particular ideas. And they're like, oh, you're that person, right? So it's kind of like if you were the person that had green hair, people would remember you, that you have the green hair, right? It's the same in research, that if you have green hair, if you're researching, for example, something that is related to green hair, then people are going to remember that, right? So that's what it is. You just have to be well known, and people can kind of understand what you're about. And then, to realize that these actions to do well takes decades, and you're going to keep persisting at that thing, and to know that you have to keep maintaining that edge in your research. That's the tricky part, and it's difficult, but you could do it. I think anybody can do it. It's just a matter of just wanting to do that enough, and being motivated enough, and being dedicated and persistent. So that's what I think in terms of whether you would actually be a good professor or not. You have to have those sort of qualities that you're going to want to keep going, and be very entrepreneurial, and be very innovative, and be a leader. in many different senses of the words. And then I think you'll actually do really well in a career. You just have to sort of know what you want and what you're about, and then you can actually do some of these things. So, all right. So if you like this video, do the old thumbs up, do subscribe to the YouTube channel. Take care and have a wonderful day. Bye.